Hello and welcome to Dialog TVS Plus, the show where we invite leaders and industry players to talk on the latest trends, topics, and current issues. I'm your host, Razi Ahmad, along with...
And also, I'm your co-host for today, Shariman. And right here in the studio here today, we have the CEO of SMD Semiconductor, Sdn Bhd, Mr. Shariman Jamil, with us today. Mr. Shariman, welcome, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Shariman. And also, Mr. Shariman, Sarawak itself, as we all know and aware, is shifting towards a green economy. And this is fully supported as well by our Premier of Sarawak, who envisions Sarawak Microelectronics design SMD to produce green chips, per se. Now when we hear about the word green, we definitely would think about eco-friendly and being beneficial to the environment. So, Mr. Shariman, just a question for you to start off. Maybe could you explain and enlighten to the audience here today, what exactly is green chip?
Yeah, sure. Green chips, the name sounds very catchy, but let me just put it in a very easy to understand terms. Green chips is like any other, it's a semiconductor device, a components, and it's like any other components, but green chip is definitely not a potato chips. As long as it gives these three core functions, the first one is the chips increases performance of the systems. Number two, it reduces the consumptions of the energy. And of course, the last one will be cost reductions or cost effective. So green chips is a semiconductor devices that comes with these three qualities or characteristics. And of course, in the future, you will see a green chip, something like when you buy a laptop or a computer, you will see there's an Intel Pentium inside. So all electronics in the future should be labeled green chips inside, right? Yeah.
So how does it exactly differ from conventional chips? I mean, conventional chips nowadays use, I think the word is more smaller nanometer processors, up to 3 now, if I'm not mistaken. So how is it different and how is it more sustainable?
Green chips also must have a very important characteristics or attitude, I would say, that it comes with the urge or the passions to develop further a better future, a more sustainable future and harmonious future. So this is not just a device, a component itself, but it is also a movement, an idea, a groups of industries who's pushing this towards a green environment, more sustainable and more harmonious future. That's the green chips about.
And I mean, touching on green chips and also the environment towards a sustainable future as well, Mr. Shariman. I mean, speaking on the future of a green chip, how do you see and envision the future of green chip, particularly, I mean, when the world is moving towards green industry as well in the economy, would we need like green devices, green appliances, and also green design?
That's a very good question. But let me twist the sentence a bit. Let me change, instead of asking what is the future of green chips, let me change it to an exclamation. The green chip is the future. Why do I say that? Because the future is already here. We have seen the transitions of diesel and petrols into EV and in fact hydrogen. You've seen it, not just me, you've seen it. Everybody's seen it. It's already here. You have seen that robotics, automation now, AI now is part of our activities and even dictate our lifestyles. You have seen it. So I would say that the green chips is the future. There is no doubt. Rest assured that what the exclamation that I said, it is the future.
Yeah. And now Sarawak is also delving into green chips or more generally the semiconductor industry. So in your mind, where do you see Sarawak now in the semiconductor industry? I mean, the SMD Sdn Bhd is also newly established, I mean, last year. So where do you see Sarawak's position in the industry at the moment?
Now, let's look at Malaysia industries. we are actually a champion in semiconductors. We do have a very good track records and histories in semiconductor. I tell you why. We are the 6th top exporter of microchips in the world. Last 2022, our export worth 78 billion
In microchips?
in microchips,
Wow.
mostly contributed by Penang, Kulim, and also Sarawak, which is our Samajaya here. So we are already in the space, and we are already kind of ahead with some of the countries in the Southeast Asia. In this particular perspective or sense, we are still truly Asian tiger, right? Now, here's the problem. We have been too much concentrating on the lower segment of the value chain for our industries. Now, let me tell you, when we say about semiconductor value chain, the highest value chain, the highest added values is at the chip design, then it goes to wafer fab, then followed by outsourced test, assembly and packaging, OSAT,
Yep.
and finally electronic manufacturing services, EMS, which is the volume production segment. So we have been concentrated, stuck at the lower end, which is OSAT, and also the EMS. So there is an urgent need, a high time for Malaysia and Sarawak to climb up the value chain, to move up the value chain, move into a higher value segment, such as wafers and also chip design.
And what can Sarawak do to move up that value chain?
Sarawak has the right formula to transform our industries into a higher value-added industries when it comes to semiconductor. The reason being is we do have our wafer foundries already here in Samajaya X-Fabs, which is something that other countries or other states do not have. Because I tell you this, one of the key indicators for investors to look at the attractiveness of investment in the countries is to look at whether these countries has a wafer foundry or not. So advanced countries like US, the UK, the EU, China, Japan, Taiwan, Korea, they all have wafer fabs. And we do have that, amazingly, we do have that in Kuching too. So that will be our foundation to transform our industries into a higher value-added activities such as the R&D's research. Now, with the establishment of SMD Semiconductor, things get more merrier. Because now, with the establishments of wafer foundries and spearheading the chip design activities is the SMD Semiconductor, we kind of sort of like connecting the dots and solve the puzzles. And this is what we are doing right now. And we are continue steadfast in doing this in the year after. And I think as one of the potential states in Malaysia, I think we can be one of the main player in the global semiconductor supply chain by the next 5 or 10 years.
Definitely. I mean, to empower skills and these talents, I mean, producing microchips is definitely a hands-on and technical skills needed for this industry. And we're talking about SMD's role in this also to push the states towards this vision. I mean, probably the next 5 years, Mr. Shariman. I mean, how is SMD Semiconductor? How are they going to empower talents, which also contributes to the development of the green chips industry and making in Sarawak as well?
Yeah, talent is very crucial in semiconductor. In fact, this is not just our problems. This is a global problems because there's a global shortage in talent for semiconductor. Everybody now is rushing towards building, producing more talents in this area. And Malaysia and Sarawak is also looking into this. We take talent seriously, we take knowledge and skill set seriously, particularly in the semiconductor. Like what Steve Jobs, I like to share what Steve Jobs said. He said, you know, some people can do one thing magnificently, like Michelangelo, the famous painter, and others make things like semiconductors and Boeing 747 plane. So he said that these types of works requires legion of people. In order to make things well, you know, you cannot be done by one person. You must find extraordinary group of people. So I tell you, talent in semiconductor is extraordinary. So what we do, we have been given a mandate by the Sarawak government through the Ministry of Education, Innovation and Talent Development Sarawak, or MYTV, to spearhead talent development in semiconductors in Sarawak over the next 5 years. So we are currently starting with train the trainers. In fact, we have started and will be completed end of the month. The train the trainer is run together with our local training institution and also universities, local universities. In February, we will start our first cohort of upskilling, 6-month upskilling training programs with estimated of 20 students, trainees, which is a fresh graduates, and we enroll them into these 6-month training programs. And this cohort will complete and enter employment by end of the year. So this is first programs that we are running. Apart from that, in addition, we are also working with local universities to provide them with what we call as the de facto industry tools for them to design actual chips, because these tools is very expensive. So we take that responsibilities and we give the opportunity, access to all our students and lecturers to use the tools so that they can revamp their curriculum or programs or courses, and they can also use that for their final year projects, research for the undergraduates, postgraduates, and so on. So we were looking at setting up a new postgraduate programs in microelectronics and semiconductor in partnership with our local universities as part of the component in our talent development programs in semiconductors. Yeah.
I see. So this is part of the talent development programs. You have collaborations with public universities and also in upskilling as well as reskilling the talents. And also for us here, we hope that you know, the talent empowerment that SMD is creating here, it will continue to empower and encourage more talents in industry, seeing that there is a potential need in this field as well. Well, I guess, Mr. Shariman, you have shared with us alongside a lot of visions and also enlightened both the Radzi and I on what green chips is. It's not a potato chip, huh, Radzi? And also the audiences as well. And we hope that the audiences have gathered a whole lot of information and hopes for and aspirations for the youth in this industry. Now, thank you so much, Mr. Shariman, for being here with us today.
We really appreciate your insight and your expertise and for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. I wish we could go more, but unfortunately we have to go, and hopefully to see you soon.
Maybe we can have an extra episode of Dialog TVS.
Why
Plus.
not? That would be good. Or we can have a multiple series of semiconductor talks.
Yes, please do. By phases. A technical topic. And for that, signing off, thank you so much, Mr. Shariman Jamil, CEO of SMD Semiconductors in Berhad, and here with me, Shaul Shamrato, your host. Signing off and take care.